Hello and welcome back to my channel, which is dedicated to philosophy, music, culture in general. So I'm violinist and philosopher. Welcome. Very significant problems for nowadays and for 20th century, problems of creation and self-creation and self-understanding, self-expression of a person, of a human being, and the dynamics of the vital mortal in a human being. In all these problems of self-expression and human activity, as such, in my opinion, are most fully expressed by Hannah Arendt in the book Vita, Activa, or About Active Life. This work is based on lectures given in the United States and published in the form of a book in English in 1958, and the first edition appeared in 1960. And the problems of ethics, work, and creativity and productivity and active cooperation of people in America prompted Miss Arendt to write a book dedicated to human productive work and productive life. And to understand this concept, it's necessary to remember to refresh maybe several important key theses. Arendt believes that the attempt to deduce the process of historical development as a chain of natural cause and effect relationships is questionable, doubtful for Arendt, and she deduces human freedom through the concept of natality, Natalität, auf Deutsch and German. That's the act of birth as such, and it's some kind of opposition to the Heidegger's death concept and the importance of death for human existence. So the act of birth is an opportunity for renewal of the world and of the human being, renewal for the world, and there is an actual birth, that is the appearance of person in this world, physically, of course, and political birth, freedom in the political self-expression of this subject, and his spontaneity and theoretical birth. It's the third position, and there are also three main types of human activity: Arbeiten, herstellen und handeln, work, production, and maybe action or activity. So work or job is the first component of active life, which corresponds to the biological processes in our body and in the human body and human mind. It's connected with the need to maintain life, and it's rather coercive force that accompanies a person to death during all our life. The result of the work is connected with the world of things, and it is an object of consumption as such. Manufacturing or production is a process associated with the creation of relationships, something immaterial, replenishing human spiritual power, connecting it with its own native, so to say, sense of home or feeling of home. The results of manufacturing, of production, can be used but cannot be consumed. The third component, action Handeln auf Deutsch, is rather related to the interaction between people with communication. It can illustrate the uniqueness and at the same time the pluralism of human existence. Communication is the most important element of human existence, and it means to find right words in right word at the right time, and it's a significant skill, and it's an action in itself. This action, in the ontological sense, is the development of human abilities. The action for Arendt is connected precisely with the political sense, politeia, in Aristotelian context, and she says that no matter how inclined the Greek philosophers were to rebel against the political, against life in the polis, it still remains self-evident to them that the seat of freedom is located exclusively in the political sphere and polis, and necessity is a pre-political phenomenon that characterizes the sphere of private economy, and the coercion and violence are justified only in this sphere, since they provide the only means to prevail over necessity. For example, through domination over slaves and thanks to this activity to achieve freedom. And natality is a phenomenon associated precisely with the world and the new possibility of creation in the world. Moreover, it doesn't depend on the previous structure of society. It opposes the thanatopolitan naked reproduction multiplication of life in the conditions of totalitarianism. Hannah Arendt makes a clear differentiation between wealth and property. There is an accumulation of capital that serves only an infinite further accumulation, which in itself has no purpose. It's just empty. Firms, companies, corporations are engaged in this, but in modern times the state and the whole of humanity are engaged in this state of being, accumulation and consumption, of course. And relations with property develop somewhat differently, with one's own body, relatives, with one's own land, language, culture. They are perceived as something close and akin to human being, akin to human heart. Since antiquity, a person has been defined through property. Gradually, in the European tradition, there was a desire for the accumulation of capital. The connection with property as with land was replaced by the accumulation of wealth, of products. A person now becomes a cog in the system. He has or she has a position, she receives or he receives a certain income, but the connection with the world through your piece of land, inherited from your parents, through the succession of generations, property, this connection is lost. And the result is not so optimistic for Hannah Arendt, for Miss Arendt. She talks about the emerging and steadily growing consumption, general mechanization, and of course automatization, and so on and so forth. And the connection with the earth is finally lost due to the isolation of a person from bodily labor. We are becoming more and more free from primitive physical activity, and we are maybe happy about it, but the problem now is how to dispose of the free time. Thank you for your attention, and we will see as soon as possible. Thank you, and all good to you, and bye.